What's up guys, and on today's video I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of the new ASICS Gel-Nimbus 24. Guys, you know how I love a daily trainer. Now while I do love all the exotics, everything with a carbon plate, there's something about a daily trainer that just ticks the boxes for me. And ASICS' latest iteration of the Nimbus did not disappoint. Let's get into it. So first of all, the ASICS Gel-Nimbus 24 retails for $160. Let's just get it out there. Yeah, it's a little on the expensive side. I'm gonna jump the gun here and I'm gonna tell you that $160 is well worth it for this shoe. Now ASICS has made some big improvements over the 23 to this 24. In fact, the men's size 9 has dropped 20 grams from the 23 to this iteration, the 24. The men's US size 9 now weighs in at 290 grams or 10.2 ounces. Now, of course, I do not wear a men's size 9, I wear a men's size 13. And when I put this on the scale, it's a little heavier. It's 358 grams or 12.6 ounces. But I gotta tell you, when I took this out of the box, my first impression was surprised at how light it was. Now, you might be thinking, Matt, 12.6 ounces for your shoe is not light at all. And you're right, but remember, I wear a size 13 in all my shoes, so a lot of the shoes that I wear are substantially heavier than this. And for a daily trainer, for me, a men's size 13, 12.6 ounces is actually pretty good, and it rides a lot lighter than it feels. Now in this video, I'm going to be going over the specs all about this shoe, and I'm also going to be giving you my first impressions. However, I usually give you my first impressions after one run, but this time I was so busy at work last week that I actually got in 3 runs before this first impression video, because on those 3 runs I have run strides, I've run tempo, I've run easy, and I've run somewhat long. Now this is only my first impression video. After I put at least 100 miles in this shoe, I'll be giving you my full review, and that's a great way to see how this shoe stands up over time. Now something important to mention with the Gel-Nimbus 24 is that there are some substantial differences between the men's and the women's. ASICS reports the women's size 7 weighs in at 8.7 ounces, which is about 247 grams. Now in the men's version, we have a stack height of 26 in the heel, 16 in the forefoot for a 10mm drop. The women's version of the Gel-Nimbus 24 has 28 in the heel, 15 in the forefoot for a 13mm drop. One more difference between the men's and the women's version of this shoe is if you look inside on this Ortholite X55 sock liner, pretty fancy name for a sock liner, but you'll see that it says 3D space construction. You see that? You see that now? And basically those are gait adapting midsole pillars, whatever that means. I haven't cut open the shoe to find out what they actually look like. The difference between the men's and the women's is that the men's only has that 3D space construction pillar support system in the heel. The women's has it in the heel and the forefoot. The Gel-Nimbus 24 is a neutral running shoe, although we're going to get to some supportive attributes of it in just a second. And it does fit true to size. So let's start at the top and we'll work our way down. The upper is a lovely engineered jacquard mesh, and it's made with 20% recycled product. So by buying this shoe and wearing it on your runs, you really are helping the environment. But honestly, at this point, for a manufacturer to not use some recycled materials just seems absolutely irresponsible. We can see a lovely thick heel collar, which is what you would come to expect from a daily trainer. When you put your foot into a daily trainer, you want it to just be hugged and feel soft, feel supported. And we definitely have that on the Gel-Nimbus 24. Adding to that support is a very stiff heel counter. That's extremely stiff. I can't press that down at all. But again, that's just going to contribute to the overall feeling of support with this shoe. The tongue is something pretty special. The tongue is actually, it's a knit material and it's very stretchy. I don't know how much detail you want to know about the tongue, but I was actually pleased with this tongue. When I put my foot into this shoe and kind of pulled the tongue up, it just felt very comfortable. I felt very much at home, and there was just something more satisfying about the tongue on this shoe than the tongue on some other shoes. It's definitely on the thin side for a daily trainer. You know, some of these daily trainers we get just big tongues, not really a fan of those. But it seems like ASICS has hit the sweet spot with this tongue. And it is gusseted, so when you put your foot in, it's very much like a booty construction. The gusseted side of the tongue comes all the way down, like towards the front of the foot. And then of course, when you cinch down the laces, the tongue just provides that protection. I didn't have any hot spots on the top of my foot. This shoe was just obscenely comfortable all the way around. Okay, now I'm excited to talk about the midsole, because the midsole is the magic of this shoe. This is where ASICS has really stepped up their game. This is where the Gel-Nimbus is striding confidently into the future. And that's because they now use Flight Foam Blast Plus. And Flight Foam Blast Plus is a beautiful midsole. Now, you need a beautiful midsole, especially when you don't have any plates, especially when you don't have any rocker technology. You are really relying on the midsole. And the Flight Foam Blast Plus really steps up to the plate on this one. It is soft and it is extremely responsive. Now with the Flight Foam Blast Plus, that is the headliner. We also have a supporting act of Flight Foam right above the Flight Foam Blast Plus. And then you're probably looking at this yellow gel area right around here. When you look in, you can see that this thick area of gel is only on the outside, and then you can see it go between the midsole materials, and it's a very thin layer of gel. This is obviously where the Gel-Nimbus gets its name. Now, ASICS does claim that they have 360-degree gel technology for shock absorption. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I kind of think it is just a marketing ploy saying you have 360 degrees of something. Sounds good. And we have this gel technology right here in the heel, and then we also have a hunk of gel right here in the forefoot. So the gel helps with everything. It helps with shock absorption. It helps to make the Flight Foam Blast Plus feel even softer. And then if we move around to the medial side of the shoe, we can see this plastic thing right here. This is the Trustic system. And this Trustic system is basically, it's a piece of plastic that adds support to the shoe. It actually reduces the weight of the midsole while retaining the shoe's structural integrity. And even though this is a neutral shoe, having this Trustic system right here in the middle just adds a little support. Moving on to the outsole, ASICS has also made some changes in this department. You can clearly see the orange rubber with some flex grooves built right in, just gives this shoe a little extra flex when pushing off. But the main thing to talk about with the outsole is that ASICS is now using ASICS Light. ASICS Light, if you couldn't guess by the name, is lighter than the average outsole rubber that is used on shoes. Clearly, we've got good coverage, but then if we come down here, if we come down to the heel, we can see these two pads right on the back. This is AHR, ASICS High Abrasion Rubber. And ASICS has chosen to put these two pieces of AHR rubber right here on the back because this is where a lot of neutral runners, this is where they first hit their foot, especially when they're running easy. So if you are a neutral runner, pick up your shoe, take a look at the bottom, you're probably gonna have a little more wear on the rear outsole edge right here. And that is basically because that is part of the gait style of a neutral runner. You kind of hit that outside edge first and then roll through and then push off. At least for me, that's where I see more wear than any other part of my outsole rubber. So I'm glad they put something a little tougher down here. So in my 3 runs that I did before making this initial review, I probably ran for, I don't know, about 4.5 hours in this shoe. Did a good cross section of runs, did a tempo run, did some pickups, some strides. I ran for almost 2 hours and then just a normal short easy run. And guys, this shoe is pretty good across the board. Now remember, this is a daily trainer. It is not made for insane speed, but when I did 5 miles at tempo in this shoe, I found it to be very comfortable, and the feeling of the shoe on my foot just kind of disappeared. It wasn't even something that I thought about. The ride is absolutely phenomenal. It is soft, but it's not annoyingly soft. In fact, now I'm thinking about it, I think I said it best when I said that the shoe disappears on my foot. I actually had to be conscious to think about how this shoe feels. Now, when I first put it on, the step-in feeling, it's a real treat. Put the shoe on, everything feels soft. It just feels nice wrapping around your foot. And then you go for a run, the shoe disappears. There is one thing though, one thing I'd like to mention. Now, usually I don't like to look at other people's reviews before I do a review because I don't want to be influenced by what they say about the shoe. Saying that, yesterday I did watch Emily's review of this shoe, and then today I went out and I ran, I don't know, a little over 13 miles. And Emily mentioned that she had a feeling on like the pads of her foot right at the front. And I thought to myself as I was watching it, that's funny, I haven't felt that at all. The Gel-Nimbus 24 has been nothing but a dream to wear. But then today, this morning, before I sat down to film this review, I got to 1 hour and 32 minutes into my run, and all of a sudden, on my left foot, I did start feeling just a little something right here. Now, this is the reason that I don't like to watch other people's reviews before I make my own, because it wasn't really that annoying, but after I saw Emily talk about it, it was kind of in the back of my mind, like, what is she talking about? This shoe has been so good to me. And then 92 minutes into the run, I did start to feel just something. It wasn't a pain. It wasn't anything that would ever stop me running, but I did notice just a feeling right here. And I can only think that that could be the forefoot gel insert that is right around here. And after 92 minutes of running, perhaps that midsole had compressed just a little bit and I was starting to feel it. Now, to be completely upfront, by the time I got to the end of my run, I wasn't thinking about it anymore, so I wasn't really noticing it, but I just thought you'd like to know that it's not all rainbows and unicorns. There was something that kind of made me think, what is that? Anyway, overall, this shoe, I said it in the beginning, guys, $160, a little on the expensive side, but in my opinion, worth every penny. Now, I've said this about a lot of daily trainers that I have reviewed in the past, but this shoe, it could be a one and done. This could be the only shoe that you use. If you just want a shoe that feels fantastic, because my friends, that is the number one thing. We need a shoe to feel good. That, above anything else, will make us get out the door. If we don't have to worry about our feet hurting, we're gonna go for that run. And this shoe does that job. It also picks up the pace surprisingly well, but I can't even talk about any of that. This shoe is just extremely comfortable. I would even go so far to say that if you are someone that spends a lot of time on their feet, maybe not even running, this could be something for you to consider. It's a treat to just walk around in, and I've only walked around my house. Now, I do have to say that on my first run, I had a feeling that this could be one of my favorite shoes of 2022. Now, it's so early in 2022 that I really hate to say that, but as you know, I'm a fan of the Daily Trainer, and there is no doubt in my mind that I will get to 100 miles in this shoe to give you my full review. So guys, if you liked this video at all, if you like the idea of the Gel-Nimbus 24, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.